There's no anime girl in the gacha game history that is harder than Burnice White. I mean, what could be harder than a gasoline-drinking twin-tails Burnice who fire flamethrowers like popping fireworks on the 4th of July? And the only two reasons that you don't pull for her is because you either cannot handle her hotness, I mean like literally, or you can't handle her lunacy. I mean, just look into those eyes. 99% of the word Zenless is in there. So, should you pull for Burnice White? The answer is yes and no. I would say the most broken agent in the game right now is either Miyabi and RYU, and in my opinion, I think Burnice White is the third most valuable characters in the current state of the game for her versatility. She doesn't necessarily has the most power levels like Yanagi or Evelyn, but it is so easy to form a team out of her. She is the true backbone of the Anomaly team. I would rate her the third most valuable characters in the game, even more so than the upcoming Sandbeast. But there's a catch, and there's this two condition that I would recommend Sandbeast more than Burnice, is that 1, you gotta get her signature weapon for Sandbeast, 2, you have planned to pull for Trigger because of how synergistic they are as a team. But if you are talking about pulling a unit individually, Burnice is definitely on the rank 3 in my opinion. Even more so than Yanagi and Evelyn, who have potentially higher power levels when you are pairing them in specific team, like Evelyn with Lighter or Evelyn with Astra. And I think in the current state, I think a lot of people would separate Evelyn and Astra and pair Lighter with Evelyn because there simply ain't enough unit to cover 3 teams for most of the player out there. And the last thing I wanna say is that she is the only sub DPS in the game, and that makes her absolutely valuable because she doesn't take much on-field time. And there's another factors that you might wanna take it into the consideration is that the new characters Vivian is probably gonna be the second sub DPS in the game, filling exactly the same role like Burnice. So it's also highly probable that this character is going to power creep Burnice. Or maybe you could form 2 Anomaly team with both Burnice and Vivian. So the verdict is, if you like Anomaly playstyle, definitely get Burnice. And if you're not so into Anomaly team, but you really like Vivian, then you probably should wait for Vivian. And I've been playing Burnice for over the past 4 months. I do know how to play her better, and there's a lot of development on her combos and even her team. So there's gonna be some differences with the guy that released it on day 1. So let's get into her combos. So the most important combos on Burnice is double tapping the skill or tap and hold the skill. And the reason behind it is because it's gonna tag afterburn onto the enemy. And every time any characters hit on the enemy, it's gonna deal damage from Burnice. And it's also gonna build up Anomaly. And that's the whole reason why she's so OP. The other thing about the afterburn is that it's gonna consume the fuse up here. And you could refill it with skill and with ultimate. But generally, you want to use this tap and hold, so you would get the most Anomaly builds up in the shortest amounts of time. And it doesn't matter if you're using double tapping, holding with double barrel all the way, or holding single barrel all the way. You would still spend the same amounts of energy to recover the same amounts of fuse. And you really don't want to use single barrel, even though it would build up 50% more Anomaly than double barrel with the same amounts of energy. The amounts of time that it took to build up the Anomaly are just not worth it. The other 2 variations that could be used practically in the fight is 1 defense assist into double barrel. You could choose to tab it, or you could choose to hold it. The other one is chain attacks, cancel chain attack into double barrel. And also you could choose to tap it or hold it, depends on the content. You're gonna find yourself using a lot of this when you're playing it with on-field Anomaly. like Miyabi, Yanagi, or Jane though. But if you're playing with more bursty characters like Piper or Nicole, you're gonna find yourself to use Burnice to fill up the on-field time. And what people would do is hold attacks. And if you're holding it all the way, you're gonna get significantly more than normally builds up. But I find it unpractical because you gotta get hit by the enemy, especially in the deadly assault where enemy hit really hard. You do wanna dodge that. So what I do is you're gonna get a split seconds of iframe when you're releasing the hold attack. So you wanna release your hold attacks when the enemy is about to hit you. Then after the hold attacks, you are setting yourself into a double barrel again. And you could do it with tap skill or hold skill, depends on the situation. And the same concept could apply to the hold skill. You would get a split seconds of invincibility when you release it, and you would also get invincibility upon holding the skill. So make sure to capitalize that when you're fighting the enemy that hit hard. Her ultimate would recover half of her fuse, and is one of the most hard-hitting ult in the game, and it would also trigger quick assist, so make sure to use quick assist as soon as you are using ultimate. And with that quick assist, your support should go with Astro Voice Forset to capitalize on that. And one thing about this order that I would like to talk about is that ideally you want to proc the anomaly interchangeably, but usually one of the attribute is not going to be able to catch up with another attribute. Let's say if I'm playing against Ice Weakness enemy with Miyabi and Burnice, the Burnice fire anomaly builds up wouldn't be able to catch up with Miyabi's anomaly. And if I were to force the disorder all the time, I would lose a lot of damage from Miyabi. So instead of forcing the disorder, you should focus on building up the anomaly instead, even though the same attribute gonna overlap each other and waste the damage, because at the end of the day, the source of damage are coming from the builds up, not the disorder itself. Where with all that said, you should still aim for the disorder most of the time. I'm just telling you not to force it. As for her gear, I think Infernal Force Set is a cope. You wanna use Chaos Jazz Force Set. It's the force set that literally trailer made for her. And for the 2 set, the best 2 set would be the Infernal 2 set, followed with Anomaly Proficiency 2 set, then Attacks 2 set. But the differences is actually not that much, so you wanna go with the one with better substat. And if you find your Burnice is a secondary anomaly characters in the team, like when you pair her with Miyabi, you might want to use this new 2 set, the Phaeton's Memory, so you could proc Miyabi's Frostburn more quickly and contribute more to overall damage. This number 6, you want to go for Anomaly Mastery is the only choice, especially in the later content when other anomaly DPS is getting better. She's gonna be more of a supportive role to proc other anomaly units disorder. For this number 5, Elemental damage is the best one, but pen ratio and attacks are also good. Just go with the one with better substat. And this number 4 should be Anomaly Proficiency. And as for your substat, you want to get above 300 Anomaly Proficiency, and you could keep building up Anomaly Proficiency without worrying about saturation until like 400, then attack percentage, then crit damage, then pen. As for W engine, aside from her signature weapon, the best one would be Lip Gloss with full refinement, followed with Fusion Compiler, which is the consistent one. You could get 50 Anomaly Proficiency from just double tapping. And if you're playing really long content, Gemini is just as good as Fusion Compiler. But in shorter content, Fusion Compiler is gonna outperform Gemini. And if you don't have Fusion Compiler, Rainforest Gourmet is gonna be better for the shorter content, like Shiyu Defense. And Refinement 1 Lip Gloss are performing roughly the same as the Gourmet. The Piper signature is also pretty good, but if I were to be like totally honest, all of them are performing roughly the same, so you better save your Fusion Compiler to other unit. And as for the vertical investment, you wanna go for her signature first. You could expect about 20 to 30% improvement. Her Mindscape 1 is okay, you could expect about 10% improvement. However, her Mindscape 2 is really good. She provides 20% pen ratio buff to the team, just like Rina. You're basically turning her into a pseudo support. And as for the team, Generally, she could pair with any anomaly characters and it would work out perfectly fine. And this is the test result from the Deadly Assault, and I use Astra Yao as the baseline. The best support for any team is Astra, followed with Caesar, Lucy, Rina, or sometimes Nicole. Any support here replaced with Astra, you would also get the same result proportionately. Depends on how strong is this support. So I put the best team in the game as Control, and keep in mind that this is a lightning weakness boss from the Deadly Assault. So we got 41k from the best team in the game and 39k from Burnice Miyabi team, which is amazing consider that is lightning weakness, which is highly favorable to the Yanagi. And with Burnice Yanagi team, this team also gets 39k. Just like Miyabi team, thanks to the lightning weakness. And this one actually surprised me. The Burnice Nicole team got 28k. It's even better than Burnice Jane Doe team, and I think it really is because of the Ether weakness and the synergy between Nicole and Astra. Piper also works decently fine, and the Mindscape Zero Grace team doesn't really performing that well. Her additional ability doesn't really proc, but even if I switch Astra into Rina, the whole team would only get 14k. And you can see my test result from the live stream. And this is the other test that I've been doing when I'm off stream with the fire weakness boss, which is Pompeii, 38k on Miyabi team, and follow with Jane Doe team with 30k, which is better than Yanagi because this boss has the lightning resistant, and 23k on the Nicole, which is still absolutely solid. And the other team is the Soldier 11 with Burnice and Lighter team. And for this case, your Burnice and Soldier 11 could use the Infernal Force set for the critical rate, and you could also use attack percentage on the disc number 6 instead of the Anomaly Mastery, so that you got more damage on the afterburn, and change your disc number 4 into a crit rate crit damage. It would also work with Burnice DPS Lighter team, which with DPS Lighter should be on the Infernal Force set. Then you pair with any other support like Astra, Caesar, or Lucy. I think she's still really solid, like and sub if that helped, and see you guys